Oh, hey y'all. Hey. I'm so excited to be back welcoming you to another episode of the Significant Life podcast. So if you're watching me live, either on Facebook or on YouTube, comment in the chat, let me know that you're here. I'm going to chat it up a little bit in the beginning. Not really, this is the most you're going to get, but I'm going to dive right in. This will be up on our podcast platform in another week or so, but I go live here first. So after the podcast, if you have any questions, you have any comments, you want to go a little bit deeper on something, I'll stick around for a few moments just to answer your questions. But until then, let's go ahead and dive right in. I am super excited about this topic. And let me make sure I can hear myself correctly, because you know what will be horrible was that I record this entire thing and nobody can hear me, but I see my levels are good. Okay, so ready? Let's get ready. So hi there. Welcome to another episode of the Significant Life podcast. I'm your host, Janice Anderson, and I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like the chaos of life? I bet y'all don't know what I just said. Have you ever felt like the chaos of life is running you ragged? You ever felt like you've been pulled every which way by life, so much so that you don't really know who you are, that you've lost yourself? Well, listen, if you've ever said, yes, girl, I don't even know who I am, whether I'm coming or going, I really don't know who I am today, this episode is just for you. Today, I want to dive into the hidden dangers of forgetting who you are. But before we dive in, I want to invite you to join me in making sure that this is a collective experience. This is an experience that multiple of us share. And so I think this topic is going to help you and your fellow sister. So go grab someone, grab a woman that you love, that you know, and make sure you share this episode with them, whether you're live or listening to the replay. I think that's going to be amazing. And as a matter of fact, if you're live here with me or you're watching the replay on one of my social platforms, tag the person below, and let's normalize being in spaces and places with people who get us, who support us, and who propel us forward to the end that we know what it's like to be seen, celebrated, and supported, to rise and soar to our next level with no strings attached. Can we do that? Can we do that for each other? Isn't that what a significant life is all about? Even in the midst of tension and transition, pulling each other forward, enjoying this journey and navigating it without being alone or overexhausted, because hello, it can be too much. Anyway, by the way, I'm Janice Anderson, founder of Significant Life, Christian women leaders, founders, executives, business leaders, and ministry leaders come to me when they're navigating seasons of transition, bouncing back from setback, or when they need strength and strategy for their next season of life. Now, here's the thing about when we work together, when ladies come to me and they reach out for support, they're not looking for more strength and more strategy so they can do more. It's not about what more I can get done. But women connect with me and the Significant Life community so that they can embody more fully and show up more securely as the women God created, called, and destined for them to be. And through our work together, women of vision, women of transformation, women of sustainable change are able to live and enjoy their significant life instead of striving and settling for what's left over after they've helped everyone else get what they need. Y'all know what it's like. I mean, you doing your part, making change, causing things to happen in the lives of those that you serve, you lead, you support, you raise, you marry. Is anybody listening to me? And then by the time it's all said and done, you are left with the leftovers. An insignificant life. While we are committed to living lives of leadership, we are women committed to living lives of legacy, and we are also women committed to living in a way that is fully alive. That's a way that we live, lead, and serve from an anchored place. And that's what we do over here. If you know a woman who needs that, or you know that's what I need, listen, stay tuned to this episode. I'll share with you later ways that you can connect more deeply with me. But before we do that, let me tell you a story. Girl, so the other day, I had this mirror moment. Y'all ever had those mirror moments where you look in the mirror and you're like, mirror on the wall? Who's that girl? I mean, sorry, that's the ghetto hood version. Who is she? Who is she? Like you're looking in the mirror and you don't even know the woman that you see. Or maybe you don't say mirror, mirror on the wall. You look instead at the details of your life and what's going on around your life, and things showing up just don't reflect the life that you had in mind. I personally was going through this not because things were bad, but things were just, you know, not the way I wanted them to be. I had surpassed some goals in some areas of my life. I had leveled off things in other areas of my life. And then I had this pile of delay, this pile of distraction, this pile of chaos that I couldn't quite get my hand around and make sense of. And I start second guessing who I was. And then this happened. This moment happened in my life. And I'm so proud of this moment. And I'm proud of the moment because not the gift that I received. I received a gift, and that's what changed the moment for me. I'm not proud of the moment because of the gift. I'm proud of the moment because of the woman I was in the moment of receiving the gift. It was Mother's Day, and in my home, it is important to me that I cultivate, create a home of celebration. It is a big deal. So in our family, when big days happen, whether it's someone's birthday, someone gets a promotion, a championship game is won, a milestone grade is achieved or surpassed, whatever it is, something significant to the person. So it doesn't have to be significant to everyone in the home, but if it's significant to you, then it's significant to us. And when significant moments happen in the lives of those within my nuclear family, what we do is we make a big deal and we celebrate. And it's easy when you're the person that is orchestrating the celebration to make sure that the celebration is great. So, it's my turn to I'm getting birthdays ready for the kids. Y'all know how it is. You get birthdays ready for the kids, and you get birthdays ready for hubby, and you get, Father's Day and all the other things. And you make sure that it all comes together, and you kind of just sit and really just want to breathe when it's time for you to be celebrated. Can we be honest? I'm good with just sitting down, eating a good meal. Don't talk to me today. Praise God. Don't call my name. My name's not mom today. My name's not mom, mommy, mama, none of that. It's not, hey, it's none of those things. Can you give me? Will you take me? That's a good celebration for me. This year, it was a little different. This year, my family decided to take me up on this idea of creating a culture and a home of celebration, and they celebrated me in a very big, tangible way. And it wasn't the amount of the money or the cost of the gift, but it was the thought behind the gift. See, recently I had written a book, and I wrote the book 14 years ago. Let's go ahead and say that. I wrote the book 14 years ago for the first time. And I have been refining and working on it and fine-tuning my craft, working with clients, put the book down, got divorced, got remarried, had a baby, all the things in this 14-year span of time. And I decided to rewrite it or republish it with a new publisher. And it was such an arduous task. Even when the new publisher reached out to me and said, hey, we want to publish your book. Can we publish your book? It took so much to get it out that finally, when I gave birth to that baby, I looked at it and I was like, I'm proud of this work. And so I had sat in the fact that I was proud of this work, but I didn't realize that they were proud of the work. And so for Mother's Day, they'd framed a copy of the book. And I'd also been featured in an article with a 5-page spread concerning the book and work around the book. And they framed the 5 pages. And y'all, I'm 5'11". The frame for the article comes up to my waist. And the frame for the book is so beautiful. And they put on display the work that I created. What does it have to do with forgetting who you are? Because I had forgotten that I was her. I had forgotten that I was the woman who had gathered her thought leadership together and decided to put it in a concrete way that someone else could read it, could enjoy it, could use it as a springboard to grow and to nurture and to build their vision from a strategic place. I'd forgotten that I was the woman that cultivated those stories, that went and interviewed those people for those stories, that worked this work, that did the study. I was looking at where my leaderboard, I keep looking over, for those of you who are live, I keep looking over to my left at where my leaderboard is and my thermometer for how I judge my financial goals and my business and number of clients I'm serving. I keep looking over there and I keep seeing that it's just shy. It's a little at halfway, but it's not where it needs to be. And sometimes when you keep seeing that I'm just shy of my goal, I'm not quite hitting the line, and I'm looking at this that needs to be done and this that's still yet to be done, and this person over here that, didn't follow through on their commitment. It's sometimes you can get stuck in those stories, so much so that you forget the real story. You forget who you are. I forget that I wrote a whole book, but not that I didn't just write the book. I did the work to get to the book. And that wasn't the first article I was published in. That's just the first one I sat down and celebrated. And I want to ask you, how often do you forget who you are? Life happens and chaos ensues. You have a major disappointment and a setback. And, some people like to say, oh, life threw me a curveball. Listen, the way life happened with me, it don't throw me no curveball. It kind of gets like a bazooka and go. So life did a bazooka and you're not sure who you are. Can I tell you what happens when life happens? In the moment that life happens, in the moment that life blows up, goes another way, gives you a curveball or a bazooka or a Nerf ball, whatever you want to call it, in that moment, you have a choice. You have a choice in that moment to decide whether or not you're going to agree with life or you're going to stand firm on what you know to be true in spite of the contradicting evidence. I'm going to get that right. You have a choice on whether you're going to, in that moment, agree with life, agree with your situation, agree with your circumstance. You got a choice on whether you're going to agree with your circumstance, your situation, and the conflicting evidence, or if you're going to remember what is true. So first thing I want to remind you of when it comes to avoiding the hidden dangers of forgetting who you are is, girl, remember, you are not your situation. You are not your situation. You're not your situation, and you're not your circumstance. Because here's the thing. If you are your situation, when it's up, you're up. When it's down, you're down. If you are your bank account, you are literally subject to whatever volatility is created within your bank account. If you are the marriage, when the marriage is up, then you are up. When the marriage is down, then you are down. If you are your children, when they are cute and cuddly and making cool sounds and bring home A's, you're good. And then when they're working out their testimony out loud in living color, ain't asked nobody could they do it or not, they just decided today I'm going to go work on my testimony, then you're down. You are not your situation. When you allow yourself to be your situation, you shape shift to fit whatever is happening around you. And then who you are, the validity of your identity rests in external circumstances and external situations. Number 2, if you're not your situation, then Janice, who am I then? Who am I? If I'm not my situation, if I'm not this job, if I'm not that book, if I'm not this business, if I'm not this marriage, if I'm not if I'm not the size, if I'm not that size, then who am I? You are God's creation. That's who you are. You are created in the likeness of the one and only true God. Genesis 1:27 reminds us that we were created in his image and his likeness, a reflection of his divine beauty and strength. Even when our circumstance and situation doesn't look like that, that is still who we are. As a matter of fact, it says this: we are fearfully and wonderfully made. That's what Psalms 139 verse 14 says. I love to read that because I remember the first time I read it, and I read it in the King James Version, like, hey, we praise God for you are fearfully and wonderfully made. I don't know about you. Maybe you talk like that. I don't talk like that on a regular basis. So to hear, I'm fearfully and I'm wonderfully made. I don't know if I'm scary made, if I'm wonderful. I don't know what I mean. But this is, can I tell y'all what it means? That the writer of that psalm, the words literally mean in Hebrew in which it was written, fearfully in that text means to cause astonishment and awe, a glorious work of Yahweh. The when scripture says, when the psalmist writes, I praise you, Father, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. He said, I praise you, God, the one who created me, because I am created to cause astonishment and awe. When people see me, they should stop in their tracks. You know, this picture just came up in my mind. I remember Dennis Rodman. I played basketball, and my favorite team back in the day used to be the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan days. And I remember whenever Dennis Rodman would hit how I want to say the track, whenever he get on the court, everybody looked like, okay, wow. You see him out in public, and this is before people were wearing wild hair and all the tattoos and all that stuff. Dennis just stood out. And and it was kind of like, that was bold. That was a lot. We were kind of in awe of not only how he looked, but also his level of play. Y'all, by design, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. By design, we are designed to cause astonishment and awe. We're not designed to just sit on the sidelines. Some of you may have heard, girl, you too much. You just do the most. You got a lot going on. You this, you that. By design, I'm supposed to cause you to stop, be astonished, and be at awe of who I am and how I show up. Number 2, it says that we are wonderfully made. The definition there in that scripture means separated and distinct. You, my dear sister, you, precious daughter of the King, you, the one who is watching me or listening to me right now, you are a masterpiece. You were created and divinely crafted to be separate and distinct from any other thing, any other person on this planet. The very thing that many of us despise is literally who we are and why we were designed this way. I'm designed to stand out, to be different. You struggling so hard to fit in. The reason why circumstances are bothering you, that they look the way that they look right now, and they're defining you because they don't look like what everyone else has deemed as good. But good to everybody else may not be good in God's eyes, because we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Can I just tell you this? To define yourself by anything other than what I just shared, by anything other than the fact that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, that I am made in the image of God, that I am beloved, I am his beloved, that I am chosen. To define yourself by anything else other than who God says that I am is to cause your courage to fluctuate and often fleet. Because now I don't even know if I'm good enough, because I don't know if I could really do that, because, the way my money's set up, I don't know if I could really do that, because, the last time I did this, it didn't really come through the way I wanted to. I don't know if I can really do that, because, the way the people that they're choosing, they look like this, they sound like this, they do this. I don't know if I can really do this, because, and you insert your excuse. When you define who you are by anything other than who God says you are, your confidence becomes unreliable. Can I tell you what happens when your courage is fluctuating and often fleeting and running down the street, and your confidence becomes unreliable? Your capacity to create and sustain the vision that God himself deposited in your heart begins to diminish. Yeah, when you allow who you are to be defined by anything external, whether your bank account is flourishing, your children are in the top schools, your marriage is, all roses and fairy tales, your weight is exactly what you want it to be, your book is a best-selling book, your friend group is all hitting on all cylinders, everything you touch. Let me tell y'all, because, I was talking to my coach the other day, and we were talking about this. Often as high achievers, we tend to have the Midas touch. So whenever we touch something, it succeeds. We excel at almost everything that we do. And while it is so much so that there's this expectation that every time I do something, I'm going to excel. I'm going to beat the odds. I'm going to break the record, or minimally I'm going to hit the goal. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that until you don't hit the goal and you look at how you show up. This has been my testimony. I was just having a conversation with her because when I realized I'm so used to doing things well and things going semi according to plan, not perfect, but getting there, that when they don't, I feel a way. And I said, oh my God, that's so prideful. That's so prideful. And it was like, I was torn between, Lord, I don't want to be prideful, and I understand that when I put in the work, when I do what's required, when I study and I show up and I do my part, I do have an expectation that life is going to respond according to plan, except for the way life's set up. Yeah, life got its own plan. They be doing whatever it want to do, and it don't always do what you wanted to do. And so the key though is who are you? That's what she said. She said, who are you in those moments? Who do you become in those moments? Who are you in the gap between what you expected and what you got? What you planned for and what you ended up with? Who is that? Who are you? And for us as women in the significant life community, it is critical to our existence that we remain anchored in what is true, that we remain anchored in what is unfluctuating, that doesn't waver. I was actually not going to do this on a podcast because this was in my quiet time, but I will share it with you because I'm here now and it just came up. In one of the pillars of a significant life is a woman who embraces a sacred self-perception. It's the way that she sees herself. It is sacred. And what's interesting about this word sacred, as I say it, I was having a conversation with a girlfriend of mine the other day, and we were talking about the bad built body, whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And the foolery that was going on in Congress a few weeks ago. And she was like, what are your thoughts about it? And I said to her the same thing I said when people were scaling the wall of the White House, or when people were swagging and surfing in the sanctuary. Sacred spaces aren't sacred anymore. Sacred spaces aren't what they used to be. And so when I say to a woman that a key pillar, the foundation of a significant life, is that she has a sacred self-perception, I mean that there is a way that she sees herself that defies all odds, all circumstances, all situations. It is anchored, it is rooted, it is unshakable. And I was writing this in my quiet time today, actually, because I was revisiting this for my own self. And I want to share with you the definition of sacred. I wrote it in my notes, but I also wrote it in my quiet time journal for today. And I just want to define what I found the definition of sacred is. Sacred, and there are several definitions. One means to be connected with God or dedicated to a religious purpose. And that's what often many of us think about when we hear sacred. Sacred means you're talking about with God. Yeah. But just dig a little deeper in the definitions. Sacred also means to be regarded with great respect and reverence by either a religion or a group or an individual. Keep that definition in mind, to be regarded with great respect and reverence by an individual. But this word is what settled with me. Unassailable. When something is sacred, it is unassailable. What does that mean? Not liable to doubt, attack, or question. Sacred. Nothing that is said, nothing that is done, nothing that is experienced, nothing that is thought will cause me to doubt, attack, or question the validity of the woman that I am, the validity of the value that I hold. The pillar of a significant life is that we have a sacred self-perception, that nothing will cause you to doubt it. And I'm going to tell you right now, if who you are is rooted in anything other than who God says that you are, sis, you will doubt it. You will second guess it. You will start fluctuating and trying to figure out, I don't really know. And so I want to leave you with this as we get ready to end this episode. And is found in one of my other favorite scriptures, Job 22, verse 21. And their scripture says, submit to God and be at peace with him. In this way, prosperity will come to you. Another version says it like this: submit to God, agree with God, and be at peace. And life will come your way. Agree with God and be at peace. And so as I end this episode of the dangers of forgetting who you are and not really anchoring who you are into what is true and defining yourself by anything other than who God says that you are, I just want to ask you this. In your life, what are you allowing to define you? You know, I work with high-performing women. The women that I work with, they're leaders, founders, executives, ministry leaders, business owners who love the Lord. And so because they already have a relationship with God, it is so quick for them to say, oh, I'm not defined by none of this. I could lose this all today and I'll still be good. That's not true. In this moment, sis, I just want you to be honest with yourself. What have you allowed to define you, to tell you who you are and if you're good enough right now? Are you allowing circumstances and situations, the roles that you play, the roles that you once played and are no longer playing, the relationships you have, or even the opinions of others to shape how you see yourself? Is your sacred self-perception guided, governed, and influenced heavily by others other than the Lord himself? Or are you standing firm on this truth that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, a glorious work of God? Wherever you're watching this or listening to this, I'd love for you to respond back to that. What resonated with you? What landed with you? Where are you right now on how you see you? Not what do circumstances say, but what do you say? And who are you choosing to agree with? I pray this episode has blessed you, challenged you, and even awakened you to maybe a place that you haven't realized was kind of tugging you away from your center. So take action today. If it did resonate with you, I'd love for you to answer the questions in your journal or on the comments page. And don't forget to share this episode with another woman who may need to hear this message. Let's continue to build a community of life-giving women who are seen, celebrated, and supported for living their significant life. Thank you for joining me. And if you're in the building live, I will chat it up with you. Let me see how I can get to your comments. So let me know if you have any comments, any questions, any thoughts. Say, hey, let me know that you're here. I'll stick around for a few moments. All right, no questions, no comments. All right, and if you watching later on the replay and you have a question, you have a comment or insight, just comment. I do go back and watch this, and I'll reply to all of your comments. Have a great one. Bye.